Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this card making project. In this project we're going to make a card using lots of Anna Griffin goodies. It's going to be a card that's going to be ideal for many a special occasion, whether it's a birthday or an anniversary. You'll be able to change the sentiments to suit the occasion. Everything I do use I shall put in a detailed list on my blog if I forget to mention it as we go through it. Please feel free to check my blog. There's over 400 Anna Griffin projects on there. There's projects for other items as well, and there's a lot of tricks and techniques. So be sure to have a look. If you've got any comments or you want to ask a question and you need a reply, please feel free to ask on my blog or on Facebook because I can get back to you there. I can't reply to you on YouTube. The replies I give get deleted randomly, so they don't stay, so you might see them, you might not. I've had a few questions on YouTube on old projects. I can't reply to you. I'm not being rude. You need to ask those again on Facebook or on my blog, please, because then I can get back to you, because I've got no way of contacting you through YouTube. Okay, housekeeping over. Let's craft. That's why we're here. The base card that I'm choosing to use is an ivory 7x5" card, and this is how it looks on our cardometer. Now, I've designed a cardometer to give you perspective at home of the size of the card that I'm using, and this is where this one sits today. So it gives you an idea so you can think, okay, I'm going to use that size, I'm going to use that size and give it a go. A4 is the largest size on the cardometer. Or if you're my friends across the pond, the A3, and then the next one down is the A5 folded in half, or the A3 folded in half. And I know you work in different titles for yours, but this is the main one, the 7x5. So that's the size we're going to be working with. Now, for any new viewers, I'm going to use a bone folder, and this is from the Anna Griffin tool set. And I'm just going to make sure I've got a nice sharp crease along the edge, because it makes it look professional and it helps it stand up nicely on a mantelpiece. So the first thing we're going to do is the inside, and I know for a lot of you this is the favourite bit. We're going to do a trick that we've done many times before, and it just looks so cool. So I've taken a piece of ivory cardstock, and it's actually ivory cardstock that didn't quite match the ivory card, but it doesn't matter because I've embossed it using one of Anna's embossing folders called Ornate Tiles from the Artful Patterns collection. After I embossed it, I inked slightly around the edge, and then I took it back through the machine to squash the embossing pattern. So that means where I've inked it, the pattern has actually stayed fresh, but it's gone flat. The rest of the sheet is flat as well. However, you can still write on it, and you've still got just that touch of pattern on the sheet. So it's kind of a good trick to try. Even if you're not going to use it for an insert, give it a go. Emboss some cardstock, ink it, and then put it back through the machine between two pieces of paper. You might need a shim just to give it a little bit of extra height, and squash it back down again, and then you've got a gorgeous pattern on a piece of paper or cardstock to use on your projects. So after I'd embossed it and inked it and flattened it, I used one of Anna's sentiment dies, and it's from the Sentiment Dies and Stamp set, and it's a scallop circle, and I've die cut an aperture through the centre. So what I've done is I've taken this whole sheet through my Xyron machine, because I wanted to show you that putting it through the Xyron doesn't affect the actual sheet of cardstock. It doesn't affect the pattern, the ink, or anything you've done, because the adhesive goes underneath the sheet. It doesn't affect anything on the top. So I've just simply added the insert to the inside of our card, and so we can see the aperture there. Now the next thing I've done was I cut out of plain ivory cardstock the same die that I cut the aperture with, and I stamped it using one of the coordinating stamps from the set, and then I can simply pop this into our card centre, into the aperture, so that's flat, so there is room for you to write your messages on, because this surface is virtually flat again anyway. You've got your room for your messages, and we've got our sentiment in the middle. And then I've taken one of the flowers from the Favourite Flowers 3 collection, and I've peeled the top flowers away from the underneath leaves, and I've taken it through the Xyron machine just to add some adhesive on the back of it, and I'm simply going to add that through the centre of the sentiment at the side, so that now we've got a floral as well, which just gives an added extra touch to the inside, plus it will coordinate with the outside. So now we can turn our attention to the outside. So the first thing we're going to do for the outside is I'm going to use my bone folder again to make sure I've got a good sharp crease along the edge. The first layer for the outside is one of Anna's metallic layers. Now you can see I've been economical with it, and I've taken the centre away because I wanted to use that for something else. So I've simply added double-sided tape on the back of this around the edge that's there. And I will point out I normally die cut the centres, but this week I've had a little bit of trouble with my wrist. So my husband thankfully has helped me with my die cutting, and I've cut the centre of this away. So it just shows that you don't have to die cut it or do it neatly, but just take the centre away and leave enough for where you're going to make a layer for the base. Now, anybody wondering if you'll be able to see the aperture in the centre, you won't, because we're going to cover that up so that it's hidden and flat, basically. So we've got our outside of our first layer. Our next layer will fit over the previous one, so you see how we've got the green edge, and that covers totally the aperture in that way. We've saved the centre for a different project. The next layer is a piece of ivory cardstock, and I've used the same embossing folder that we used for the centre, the Ornate Tiles embossing folder from the Artful Patterns collection from Anna. I've got double-sided tape on the back, and I've just inked very slightly around the edge just to pick up a little bit of the pattern. I haven't been very heavy-handed with this, and it just gives it that little bit of extra interest. So our next layer is going to be a cut and emboss frame from Anna's die collection, and I've die cut one of the flock layers. I've got a little bit of tape on the back of it that I can simply peel the back of it away. I'm not too worried where I've put the tape, because I am going to cover some of this up. So I'm going to put the frame just through the centre of the card, like that, and press it down. And already it's starting to look really pretty. Now, I should have said at the beginning, for anybody that I get a lot of messages from people that they're not keen on green. And I think green is one of the staple colours from Anna's collections, and it can look fabulous with so many different things, and I think this project will show that. So for anybody that doesn't like using the green because they're not that keen on it, give this a try and mix it with the colours that you've got. You know, you can use different embossing folders, etc. Just mix and match, pick out 2 colours and then use it with the green, and I'm sure you'll find that it will all work perfectly and it'll look great. The green won't be too much, so give it a go. But I like the green, I like the olive green. So anyway, so that's our cut and emboss frame at the bottom. Next, I'm going to start adding some flowers, and these are from the Favourite Flowers 3 collection, like we had for the inside. The stickers, so you simply peel the back of them away. Now, because I'm going on to flock, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue as well, because sometimes if you have trouble sticking onto flock, it doesn't matter, it's not a, you know, it's not a massive issue. Just add a little bit of glue, because once you've purchased these stickers, they're yours, so you don't have to use them as stickers. You could use them on 3D foam, you could use them with liquid glue. If you find they don't stick to your project, just add some glue. So it's kind of not an issue. Next, before I add any more flowers, I want to add my sentiment, because I want the flowers around the sentiment. So the sentiment we've got is again from Anna's Stamp and Die set All Occasion sentiments. I've stamped it and I've die cut it. I've stamped it in nice Stays On brown ink, and then I've used a paler olive green ink for the ornate frame stamp, and as I said, then die cut it with a corresponding die. I've got it on 3D foam, and I just want to slip that slightly under the rose to get it kind of central like that. There we go. And so our sentiment is nicely in the middle. We can press that down. Next, I've got some more of the florals like we used for the inside, and I'm going to add them just to one side of the sentiment at the bottom. Again, a little bit of glue, and then I can add them, layering them up so they just sit over the top of the florals to the other side, the roses shall we say. And then for the other side I've got a single rose, and again I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue because it's going on that flock, and I want to be sure that it's going to stick well. Not that it won't, I'm just taking extra precautions. Now I will point out I've actually trimmed this a little bit, because again, once the stickers are yours, you can do what you like with them. If you don't want the greenery on them, you can trim them down. So I've just trimmed mine slightly to go around the edge of the sentiment. You see, it is just as if I prepare all these projects and I put a little bit of thought into them before I do them. So I can press that down and stick that at the side of the sentiment. And then to finish this card off, I've got one of Anna's larger ivory bows. I've just got 3D foam on the back of it, and I'm going to add it to the side of the sentiment for a change, just for something a little bit different. And that is our card finished. So we're quite traditional with our florals and our patterns. I think the flock adds a gorgeous touch for texture together with the embossing layer, and the colours, as we mentioned, the green with the bronzes and the ivories, just all go so well together. Stands up nicely. You shouldn't need a box or anything special to put this in. It's not too high with the foam pads, etc. And it's definitely a mantelpiece pleaser. I just think that's so pretty. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope it's given you an idea of how you can use some of your Anna Griffin goodies. I did mention before about check the blog because there's so many other projects on there. Please give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed this. Please share with your crafty friends, because I'd like to try and reach as many crafty people as possible. Let's see if we can get everybody crafting. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.